Comedian, life as a sumo, and adventures in human being. Very good afternoon to you all. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the show. Hope you're well. If you'd like to give us a call, 1890 453 106 is our low call number. Our text number is 53106. That'll cost you 30 cents. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, or send us an email to afternoon@newstalk.com. Our guest in the studio is someone who's been with us many times before, but now the independent senator, Averil Power. Averil, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Sean.
We've, I think that a lot of what's happened in the last 24 hours around the same-sex referendum, or what didn't happen within Fianna Fáil around the same, has been well ventilated. Maybe we can come back to that. Mm-hmm. Did you have concerns about the party prior to that anyway?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I guess I ran in 2011 because I wanted to make a difference. Obviously, it was a difficult election for the party. I felt that a lot of things needed to change if it was to have a future and to have a role in Irish politics. But I wanted to be part of that change. I felt that we needed to have a strong opposition. It was obvious that Fine Gael and Labour were going to have a huge majority, and I thought there was a need for a strong centrist opposition to hold them to account. I wanted to champion issues that I care about, like education and social justice. And I really thought that the party would change for the better. I thought that it had reached such a low point that other people would have the same hunger as me to change it. And because I also ran on the basis of saying that I was going to be true to myself and speak out and be honest and speak my mind, and if it worked out, great, and if it didn't, fine. And from the off I did that. One of the first speeches that I made in 2011 was at the McGill Summer School, where I called for Bertie Ahern to be expelled from the party. I got a call. I was surprised. I got a call from Micheál Martin to say that he didn't appreciate that he was speaking at McGill that night, and he felt that I had put him on the spot because now he would be asked questions about it. And he said, well, look, there's a process and we have to go through all of that. And I said, but look, you know, you have to take a stand, and if you really want to see change, and you're talking about ethics, you're talking about new politics and the future of the party, you know, you need to show that you're prepared to do that and you're prepared to take decisions like this. And then, but he wasn't, and it was another year before he was prepared to recommend that expulsion. So I suppose that was my first kind of, you know, falling out. But I felt, okay, we disagree on that issue, but I'll work on other things. I then, one of the other big tasks I was given was to develop a strategy to increase female participation in the party. We've had only 2 female parliamentary party members out of 34, no female TDs. I was delighted to be asked to do that because it's something that I feel strongly about, and I think that Irish politics does need to be more representative. I put a lot of work into that, set up a committee with some excellent people. I developed a really, really strong strategy setting out how we could get more women to run for the local elections and then for the general election, and just generally change the culture within the party and just make it more representative. That strategy, when it was published, you know, the party leader and published it with me, did a press conference with me, said that he supported it, signed up to the targets, like we would have 30% female candidates in the local elections, all of that we'd run workshops for women, that we'd actively go out and recruit women involved in leading organisations locally and attract local leaders into Fianna Fáil to run for the party. You know, 3 months later, nothing had happened. 6 months later, nothing had happened. I kept raising private concerns with him, saying, look, this isn't happening, and it's really frustrating because we're getting closer and closer now to the locals. We're not selecting women. We're not getting them involved. You're not going to have the female candidates that you need if you don't take action. And it was nearly a year later when a journalist asked me, I was writing an article about women in politics, and she asked me, you know, why hasn't it changed? You know, you had a strategy, so why has nothing changed? And I was asked an honest question, I gave an honest answer, and I said the strategy hasn't been implemented. And then again, I got a call up to the leader's office to reprimand me for that. For publicly criticising the party, and I said, look, I never wanted to be in that position. It's not, but it's not like I'm saying anything that I didn't say.
When you brought it up with him, Averil, when you said we need to work on this, what answer did you get?
I got, oh yeah, I agree with you, but it's harder than you think, and there's a lot of other things going on. And I said, well, look, why haven't we had workshops for women? And they were like, but we've just had a conference on agriculture, we've just had a conference on other small business, on other things. And I said, look, of course there are always going to be lots of priorities, but if you're serious about this issue and you want to change it, you need to actually throw some real resources behind it and real emphasis behind it. So I didn't say anything in that article that I hadn't said to him privately for so long, and I guess it was just frustration when I gave an honest answer to that question. But I also felt that I was being used to some extent to kind of cover up for the fact that there weren't women, and I resented that. So I resented that I'd been asked to do this strategy. We'd launched it with great fanfare. It looked like the party was doing something. The journalists were like, oh, Fianna Fáil has a great strategy, they're doing something. Every time there was, media debate saying, why aren't there more women in Fianna Fáil, I'd get rolled out to say, oh, but there are, and I'm here and I'm doing X, Y and Z, but I felt that I was being used as cover for the fact that nothing genuine was actually happening. And I felt that I was doing a disservice to the issue by doing that, because I was helping them to have to kind of masquerade that there was something happening when there wasn't. And I said, the longer I continue to do that, the less they're going to do. So I knew when I gave that interview that would probably be disciplined for it, that they wouldn't appreciate it, that it might damage my own chances for promotion in the party or for whatever. And I said, but look, I'm just so, I just feel that this is wrong, and if I'm not prepared to speak out about it, what's the point, and what chance do other women have if I'm in a position to do something and I'm not prepared to use it? So I did speak out after that. I mean, there's been a series of other issues at parliamentary party meetings. I've expressed concern about the lack of credible policies, about things like that, about teamwork. I mean, increasingly as well in the last few months, you've seen different members of the front bench are running off in different directions. There's no cohesion there. There's no vision. I have to say, even the last time I was on, I always loved doing this programme. But you asked me what Fianna Fáil stands for, and then, I ended up answering by saying, well, I believe this, I believe that. And I came off that interview kind of frustrated. I felt it was the worst interview I'd ever done with you for that reason, because I felt like I kind of lacked it. I'm like, here I am, a year ahead or less of a general election. I'm still saying, I think this, I think that. I still can't say the party has policies, the party has vision, the party wants to do X, Y and Z. And increasingly, as well, as I was canvassing on the marriage equality referendum, and I was speaking to people on doors and they'd ask me about marriage equality, and I can answer with passion and tell them why I really strongly felt that it was the right thing to do, and why it mattered so much to me and to my gay friends, and why I felt that it was the right step forward for Ireland. And then they'd say, what's the story of Fianna Fáil? And then I'd feel the passion drain away, and I'd be struggling to give them an answer about where the party was and where I thought we would be. And that just became, just became too hard. The reason I stuck in for the last 4 years is because I wanted to believe that I could change things. I knew there were a lot of people looking to me. There are so many decent members involved in Fianna Fáil all over the country, so many of my own constituency, people who've been out campaigning with me, who have the same vision as me, the same frustrations as me, who looked to me to represent them and to stand up for where they were coming from. So that's why the decision was hard for me, because I know they're sad that I've walked away, and I feel bad about that. But ultimately, I had to think, am I still prepared to go and go on the airwaves and run an election for a party that I don't believe in? I just can't do that. And I believe I would have won a seat for Fianna Fáil. I came very close to winning one in 2011 on the party's worst ever election. I've worked incredibly hard locally and nationally since then. When I was canvassing the referendum, we knocked on 25,000 doors from January to May. Canvassing marriage equality, the response that I got personally was very warm and very supportive. The response I've got over the last 2 days from people in the constituency, from groups that I've worked with, has been phenomenal. I haven't even been able to read all that. I came off TV last night, I had 700 emails. I haven't even been able to, I just flicked through the first 150 of them this morning, and they're incredible, and I just really appreciate that. So I feel that people do respect me locally, that nationally I've shown what I can do, that I would have won a seat. I probably would have stood a much better chance of winning a seat, particularly in light of the by-election as a Fianna Fáil candidate. But ultimately in my heart I knew that I don't want to be a Fianna Fáil TD. I don't want to get elected in next year and spend 5 years in a parliamentary party that I don't agree with, and campaigning and arguing on behalf of a party that I don't have any faith in. It's sad and horrible. Let me just say this to you. In this lot, we do have various politicians, and for the most part, there's loads of politicians we could have. We don't have them in because they come in and repeat things by rote. Yeah. And you're one of the few politicians we have in because. And it doesn't matter whether I or anybody agrees with you or not about anything, but you mean what you say. And I've always felt that you meant what you said. But I must say I've been aware of that too, that increasingly that struggle to try and, because on so many other things it's clear what you stand for. And when I read about from a weekend on Saturday where it was so heartening to see all this idealism, all these people flying back to vote, and then these bunch of fat old middle-aged white guys laughing at you because you were part of that movement.
It's just awful. And it says awful things. Now, geez, I'm cheering up. It says awful things about politics in this country. Yeah. We'll take a break. Back in a couple of minutes.
Moncrieff, brought to you by buyandsell.ie, Ireland's fastest growing online marketplace for buyers and sellers, with hundreds of shops and thousands of ads.
NSAI's Excellence Through People certification has made a real difference to our business.
Mark Rogers, Head of Human Resources at Danone Baby Nutrition Operations, talks about the NSAI.
We believe in fostering the very highest standards among our 300-strong workforce in our manufacturing plants. NSAI certification is not just independent proof of those standards. We have also found that it motivates our staff and improves productivity. I would strongly recommend Excellence Through People to other businesses.
To find out more, visit nsai.ie or call 01 807 3800.
Your goal is to go further. Your ambition is to be a business leader. Your challenge is having the right skills. Your solution is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. The internationally recognised CIMA qualification opens doors with employers here in Ireland and all over the world. CIMA is the smart choice for flexible study options and career opportunities. Go further, go faster, get CIMA qualified. CIMA for career in business and finance. Visit CIMAIreland.com for more information.
Do you imagine a better career for yourself? One where you lead effectively, drive change and succeed. An MBA from UCD Smurfit School can give you that edge. So make it your business to come to our MBA Experience Day on Saturday the 6th of June at UCD Smurfit School from 8:30am. The event will feature an interactive case study lecture, a leadership and development session and the opportunity to network with our MBA team, current students and alumni. Register at smurfitschool.ie. UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. Business, imagine better together.
Odds of becoming a billionaire? Woo-hoo! 1 in 7 million. Of winning an Oscar?
I'd like to thank me ma.
1 in 11,500. Of giving birth to a genius?
Oh. Hi, Mom.
1 in 250. Of having a great night at the dogs? 1 in 1. The Dogs, where the odds are always in your favour. Make the June bank holiday even better at the Dogs, with restaurant packages from €25, plus a complimentary welcome drink. Visit gogreyhoundracing.ie today. Limited availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Moncrieff, brought to you by buyandsell.ie, Ireland's fastest growing online marketplace for buyers and sellers, with hundreds of shops and thousands of ads.
53106 is our text number. That will cost you 30 cents. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Averil Power is still with us. Let me just read out a few of the texts that have been coming in. This more or less reflects the tone and tenor of what we've been getting. 100% support Senator Power. Regard her assessment of Martin's leadership. She's correct. But unfortunately, honesty doesn't seem to be valued by her former party members, and that's why it's in the state it's in. She's an outstanding example for young women. Averil Power has the strength of her convictions and stands over them. She also seems to have an innate sense of what's right and wrong. It's no wonder she didn't fit into Fianna Fáil. Sean wonders, will Averil Power resign as a senator, given that she was elected by Fianna Fáil councillors? We perhaps can get to that. Someone else, she says, she sounds gutted God lover. That says, hug her, Sean, for feck's sake. I was upset too. No one was hugging me. Now, you don't know what you're going to do about the future, I assume.
Well, I mean, I have decided that I'm going to stay in the Senate and serve out my term as an independent senator. Because there are projects that I have started that I want to finish, like my adoption bill, which passed the Senate with unanimous support
which would be very close to your heart, obviously.
It's very close to my heart. Would give 50,000 Irish adoptees a right to their birth certs. That has got the whole way through the Senate, still has to get through the Dáil, so I'd like to stay and see that through and put pressure on the government to enact it. I've also worked on a cross-party basis with members, independents and people from other parties on other issues, like the Palestine motion again that I got through and was later passed by the Dáil on education, mental health. I'd like to finish that work. I have I've been getting, it's actually been remarkable, that, well, there's been a lot of nastiness from my former party colleagues. I have been getting messages of support from senators, TDs of every other party over the last 2 days, telling me that they look forward to continuing to work with me, that they respect me, and that they will stand with me. The leader of the Shannon, Fine Gael leader of the Shannon, sent me a text straight away yesterday to say that the next few weeks would be tough, but that he would do anything he could to help. Same with Gillian Van Tourney, the leader of the independent group. I worked with Gillian on my adoption bill. She co-sponsored that with me. Gillian was on to me straight away. The party, I got an email yesterday. I made my announcement at 12 o'clock. By 4 or 5 I got an email telling me to get out of my office because Bobby Aylward was coming in today and wanted my office, and it was the last thing I wanted to deal with. I mentioned that yesterday.
Bobby Aylward gets your office.
Yeah, apparently. Well, they told me that he wanted it. That he was coming in today and wanted it. Now, the last thing I wanted to be dealing with yesterday was that. But I mentioned that to Gillian Van Turnout, and she has been making phone calls all day and trying to organise an office for me and figuring it out. So I've seen an incredible amount of kindness and decency from members of other parties that I have worked with on different things over the last few years. And I think that I still have a lot to contribute in the Seanad, and I'd like to finish my term in respect to the Dáil. I mean, I had always intended to run again as a Fianna Fáil candidate for the Dáil. I've worked really hard locally and nationally to that end. It would be a big undertaking for me to do that as an independent. It's a big constituency. It's a 5-seat constituency. It's also very crowded. We've several high-profile independents there. I would have had a much better chance of being elected as a Fianna Fáiler than as an independent. So I need to just kind of talk to my supporters and, see who's still on board and what they want me to do. But to see if that's something that's realistic and if that's something that they want me to do. That's not just a personal choice for me. I need to see what my team want. But I have been heartened by the messages and texts, emails that I've been getting from local people that I've helped with different issues over the year, different groups in the constituency asking me to stay on and pledging their support. So I need to look at it, you know what I mean, all that, think about it, decide what's right. I mean, I never wanted to be in politics for the sake of it. I do have other options. I've worked on other things. I have a business degree from Trinity. I have a legal diploma from the King's Inns. I've been offered other jobs over the years. There are other things I could do. So I only want to stay in politics if I feel that I can make a strong contribution, into the future, not just for the sake of it. That was never my intention. And the marriage, I get the marriage, like you mentioned, the marriage equality referendum. I guess, for me, that moment on Saturday, was brought up onto the stage on Saturday by the Yes Equality groups, and in Dublin Castle there was, I don't know, maybe 2,000 people in the crowd all celebrating the happiness, the energy that was there, the way that campaign has energised the country, the way that people have responded to leadership and positivity and campaigning was just phenomenal. And I suppose that showed me the difference that politics can make when it's positive and people put aside the pettiness and the party political rivalry and stuff like that and actually work together on a cause. But that moment was also kind of bittersweet for me because it showed me that everything that's can be amazing about politics, but also everything that was missing in my own party, because largely while the party stood for marriage equality at a national level, and Micheál Martin did press conferences in Dublin and things like that with me, but many of my colleagues made it very clear to me that they were voting no, and none of them did any real canvassing in their constituency on it. And people told me that when I brought it up at that meeting in Kilkenny, they told me that was because they felt, I think they were out of touch. I think they failed to see him moving, growing around them, but they felt that it was unpopular, that it would be defeated, that it would pass in Dublin and probably be defeated elsewhere. And if it passed nationally, it would just be because it would be overwhelmingly positive in Dublin, but it would be negative elsewhere. Yeah,
and is that also, to a degree, an age difference, a culture difference? Yeah. It's like All Ireland, and it's like if that rump of Fianna Fáil hasn't changed, they're still acting like they're the biggest party in the state. Yeah, I think unfortunately many of the national representatives of the party are out of touch. I think, many of their social views are still more reminiscent of 15, 20 years ago. I think they're very conservative. I think often they're afraid to take positions on things because they think their electorate is more conservative than they actually are, or they're weighing things up all the time and saying, do we really want to take a stand on this? Maybe we'll alienate somebody, but that's just never been me. I think one thing that I think it'd be fair to say over the last 4 years that I've always being honest, I've been coming down on the side of things and said, no, this is what I think is right, even when that has been unpopular. Marriage equality is an issue I've championed for years. A friend of mine sent me a post on my Facebook page on Saturday to say that he to remind me of a debate that I'd spoken of in Trinity in 2002 in favour of marriage equality before anybody was talking to it. For me, it was a no-brainer, to be honest. I never understood why anybody would care about other people's happiness. But, I've always stood up for issues because I felt they were right. I've always felt that that's what politics is about. So, for your issue, is there anything you're ruling out at this stage? Would you rule out, perhaps, if you got an approach from another party? Well, let's not even name parties at this stage of the game. Would you have to be an independent? Would you have to be an independent in Dublin Bay North, or might you move to a different constituency even?
No, I'm not moving anywhere. Dublin Bay North is my home. I've worked hard there. I've great friends there, supporters there, so no matter what happens, I'm staying there. But no, I don't see anything, unfortunately, in Fine Gael or Labour or Sinn Féin or Renua. Because people have asked me about Renua. I don't see anything there that's much better than the way Fianna Fáil was in many respects, and I think that's sad, you know. And I think that unfortunately that's not just my view. I think increasingly an awful lot of people feel that same way. They feel apathetic, you know. I mean, for now, like someone sent me a text saying, you know, but yourself and your sin have conviction, you should go together. Now, like, I disagree. That's not going to happen because we disagree. We disagree very strongly on most issues. But I did say when she resigned, when she left the party, I said that I disagreed with her on that issue, but I respected her. And I think, you know, and the same with, say, Roisin Shortall when she left Labour, that I think that's sad. And I know Colette Byrne wrote an article today in the Unknown, and I think Miriam Lord mentioned it and others as well, saying that it's sad that actually particularly women have, you know, prominent women in each of the main parties have felt that there wasn't a role there for them, and that you know, conviction and honesty and things like that, just that there wasn't a space for them in each of the parties. And I think that's a shame, because and that's it was very striking as well. Actually, that's a very good point that she made. In terms of leaving Fianna Fáil, because you had invested so much in the party, you'd worked so hard for them, does it feel a bit like you've been kicked out of your own family, or you had to leave your own family? Because obviously, I mean, it's clear to people listening how upsetting this is for you. Yeah, it's been really tough, and as I said, that was the hardest part of making the decision. Is I have really good friends in the party, of people who've campaigned for me for years, who've given up their personal time to go out and knock on doors with me and support me. Many of them who have been increasingly disillusioned with the party, people who flocked over to my constituency to canvass for me in the last general election and the marriage equality referendum and other campaigns, who travelled from all over because they wanted to support me as opposed to their local TD that they didn't have any faith in. So that was really hard for me to walk away from them more so than anything else. But ultimately, look, when you decide that, you know, I wasn't going to change the party, that, you know, then I felt it was the only choice to make. What has been hard has been seeing the ruthless and aggressive way in which the party has attacked me over the last 24 hours, instead of actually responding on any of the issues of substance that I raised, about the lack of vision, about the marriage equality campaign, about, you know, lack of teamwork, all of that, instead of... Well, are you surprised by that? Because that's the response would be to circle the wagons. I was surprised. I knew that they'd be nasty, but then I was kind of thinking, but sure, they don't have anything on me, so what are they going to... You know what I mean? What are they going to say? So I was kind of confident in that. I was very surprised by Micheál Martin. I made a point in my speech yesterday of saying that I have a lot of time from him on a personal level, that I thought he was well intentioned, that in fact we had often been in the same minority within the party over the last few years on social issues in particular. So I didn't expect it from him. But I did a radio interview with him yesterday at lunchtime, and 30 seconds into, he wouldn't go on air at the same time as me. The only basis in which he would do the programme would be if he got to respond to me, and then I didn't get to come back afterwards. And a minute into his contribution, I knew I'd made the right choice. Because the nastiness of it and the totally untrue and disingenuous things that he said, for me, he wasn't the man I thought he was. Averil, the amount of support for you is astonishing, certainly coming in on text. And even people saying who they wouldn't have been Fianna Fáilers, are looking at you in a new light. An awful lot of people saying they're hoping that you don't give up politics, because, you know, as we saw last weekend, we kind of maybe need fewer guys like me and more guys like you. Averil Power, best of luck for the future, no matter what you decide. We'll take a break, back in a couple of minutes.